you've been shooting for?
Yeah, no. They're promotions of two shows of mine which are releasing.
Okay.
So one is called Never Kiss Your Best Friend on Z, and the other is called Escape Live on Hotstar Disney.
Yes.
So at the moment, there's a lot of promotion work going on, and not so much a shoot, because now the shoot begins in June with a new web series.
Okay, so tell me about both these series.
Okay, so Never Kiss Your Best Friend is a very interesting, it's a very young 20s zone. What would you call the millennials and the Gen Z rather?
Okay.
Maybe would be Gen Z. Yeah, it could be Gen Z mixed with millennials. So I was part of it in lockdown 2020, so the first lockdown. And they actually shot, they told me that the first season has been aired. It was shot in London. So they're making a lockdown special, which would be an amazing technological marvel. So I was extremely excited because everybody's in their homes.
Okay.
They're all given a iPhone 11 Pro. So all of them have the same camera. Everybody's on a laptop on a Zoom call, and the entire crew and the cast are on that Zoom call. And the script has been discussed. And now the cinematographer is sitting in Dubai. The director is sitting in Mumbai. The lead girl is in Delhi. Another lead actress is in London. I'm in Mumbai. One more person in Mumbai. The producer is sitting somewhere in Rajasthan. And we're all together. And, we're showing the camera, and we rehearse the scene on Zoom with the actors while the director is watching.
Yeah.
And then we show the cameraman, the cinematographer, the angle of the house wherever I'm in. So they'll say, okay, we'll put so we put a ring light opposite, and we put the camera and we shoot all that. And every day evening, they used to come and collect the phone, download it. And then, so it was, and then they put the whole thing together as a series in the lockdown where everybody's talking to each other on iPads, on your laptops, on your phones. So the point of view was shot from all directions, and then they put it together. So it was quite an amazing, for me, that was the most exciting thing. Now, when that got over, they decided to go ahead with the second season, which again would be in London. And so they decided to take my story forward because I was introduced in this lockdown special. And they liked the character. So they felt like, okay, let's take this ahead. The guy called Bittu Mama, and he's the girl, Tani, who's Anya Singh. And so I'm her mama. And so it was very amazing is that she's now come from London. She's living with me in Delhi. So, but she's living on a lower floor because I'm paranoid of this whole COVID thing. And I told her, you live in the floor downstairs. So her home in Delhi is established as the floor downstairs. My home in Mumbai is the room upstairs.
God.
Okay. So it was, so it was quite amazingly done. And then they took it forward, and it's like, I'm this hopeless romantic who loved the girl when I was 20, and then she went away, got married. But I'm still in hope that she will come back to me someday. And I've not loved anybody else. I've not married anybody else, and I'm just waiting. And in the end of the lockdown special, I connect, and I say, man, I'm going to London. I found her. And I've been on the internet trying to because she used to love tea. So I started like a tea making, enjoying blog,
so that she
and thinking that maybe she could connect, and then somehow she connects. And and then I go to London, and she's married with a grown-up kid, and she's divorced. Oh, no, sorry, her husband died. And now for me, it's okay. Will I be able to start? So the whole apprehension, the fear, the excitement, it's all together. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. And Escape is with a Y, right? That's how it's written.
Yeah, Escape is with a Y. And that is really strong. It's like extremely relevant. It's about apps which people come on and they're 15 seconds, 15 days or 15 months or years of fame, and to what extent they go to, and how these companies who make these apps, to what extent will they push for their business. And then it's like an app called Escape Life, which I am the CEO, and I launched it. I put it together, and we start a contest. So we say, okay, we got 30 days. In 30 days, whoever gets the most. Now, the point is the likes are not just the thumbs up. The likes convert into money, by which way there are diamonds and there are hearts. So a heart will cost 1,000 rupees. A diamond will cost 5,000 rupees. So you have to lure your followers, into giving you diamonds and hearts. Whoever at the end of 1 month of 30 days can get the maximum amount of diamonds and hearts will win 3 crore rupees. Now is the story of various people who are driven by...
It's like a lottery.
Sometimes, no, it's not just money. It's also money. Sometimes it's fame. Yes. Sometimes they want to prove something. So the psychology which goes behind these these content creators and what they have. So the point is, what we see is the frame, what they are showing us. The story showing you what beyond the frame, what they are showing us and their family and what they are going through and what all happens to get this thing done and going. So it goes into dark territories. It's really relevant to today. And it kind of makes you sit up and think and say, man, this is a crazy world and where I'm, And there are the positives and there are the negatives. So, yeah. So that is, I really think it's a very strong and very well made, very, very well made. If you see the trailer, you'll kind of, get a gist of that.
Did you change your opinion about apps and these videos after this role?
No, I always held that it's exactly like the internet. The internet can be used to watch TED Talks, or you can use and watch porn. Up to you. So a child can have access to amazing knowledge, or you can just browse and get caught up in a whirlpool of, decadence, in a whirlpool of complexes that I am not good enough and wanting to be accepted. And there's a whole complex situation which has come up. And a lot of people are, especially the Gen Z, they are undergoing extreme depression. Suicide rates have gone up by 50%. So there are all these issues which are to be dealt with. It's like nuclear power. You use it to make a bomb, or you extract energy out of that.
Right. Okay. Also, the fact that you were in Dubai for a long time, and you
didn't meet me for that long time.
I in fact texted you. I saw you on stage, and it was lovely to see you perform on stage, because that you don't see. That is rare to see, and a live performance. And tell me about that experience, the Dubai Expo, and this was the center of, the dome, the Al Wasl Dome. And
Oh, but that was an amazing experience. And I was called in. Okay, so I was spoken with on the 3rd of January. I was signed officially on the 5th of January to start rehearsal. And the show was supposed to open on the 13th of January. Yeah, and everybody else had like 2 months of rehearsals and all. And here I was called, and something happened last minute. They had some problems, some issues. And then Rahman, who was a friend of mine, called me with Shekhar and said, can you do this? And I was somewhere in Iraq, and I got a call from Rahman saying, man, this is there. Can you come? So I said, I'm coming on the 1st. We met on the 3rd. We locked it on the 5th. And the show was opening on the 13th. But I've never been so stressed in my life. I took up the challenge. I said, okay, fair enough. It's not easy, It's like you've seen the show. So to coordinate all that in 1 week. But thankfully, due to some technical issues, it got postponed by a week more. So I got 2 weeks. But still 2 weeks compared to 2 months, what others had to time for preparation. So, yeah, but it was an amazing experience, the kind of diversity of talent of the cast and crew, 25 different countries, people coming together, huge budget. I think it was nearly $12 million. And of course, the main thing is with Shekhar and Rahman and being a part of, their creation and creativity. That was, I think, the most amazing thing for me. And sometimes we perform 5 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week. But it was stressful, but I take up challenges. I kind of realized I do that. And I'm put into, I say, okay, let's go. So age no bar, sex no bar, performance bar. Okay.
But the fact that you also were doing a live performance after a long time, right? I'm not wrong. A live without retake. There's nothing. This is the.
Yeah.
So how was that?
Yeah. So that was quite challenging because the venue itself, because it's 360 degrees, and the sound outside is different from the sound coming on stage. So the stage monitors is for us to hear the tracks. But in my case, sometimes the mix went in such a way I couldn't hear. So I had to wear like earphones, which they were. So I had to check the levels out twice. Once it didn't work at all. And then I said, man, I can't because I'm not hearing it. So we had those technical issues, but we sorted it at the end. And yeah, and it was quite wonderful and like great actors. We had the Australian, the two leads, the girl, Subshri, and there was Zappa. So I think it was really wonderful, very good. They're actually William Zappa. So he's done about what they call some 10,000 shows in his life. He's about 70 plus now. So he was a thespian in theater. And Subashri also is a theater person. She's doing Disney, like she's doing now Cinderella leads, and she was in Aladdin. And so for me, I'm not a theater guy so much. I've done a bit of theater, but yeah. So yeah, it was for me, an experience, and thankfully I managed to pull it off, and people appreciated it. So.
And you were all over Dubai. All the posters were across Dubai as well.
Yeah.
Okay, about films now. What are you shooting right now? What do we expect to see soon?
Okay, so now besides these two series, I've got a movie called Jadugar, which is a Netflix film, which is due sometime around May, June probably. And that's really a nice, like very sweet slice of life, small town, personal issues, the demons within, the conflicts within. It's a dark film. It's a sweet film, and with life lessons. And then there's a film which I've completed with a man called Rahi Anil Barve, who made a film called Tumbar. And Tumbar was this amazing super horror film. Yeah. So he's made this film where I'm playing the central character called Mai Sabha. It's got held up for a bit because he's busy finishing a series right now. So that is, in my opinion, my best performance in my life.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a very, very dark zone. It's a thriller.
Is it like Tumbar?
No. It's not some. No. It's a thriller.
Okay.
It's a dark thriller, but it's got dark elements. So, and then I have another film called the Jangipura Files. Jangipur Files, which is based on a real life incident in Bengal. Mm-hmm. And so that is a very challenging film from perspective. It's a great story about a case which happens in Kolkata 30 years ago. And there was an Amitabh Bachchan film which was released, and the crowds were going wild for the tickets. And there was a gun which was shot somewhere, and it killed one man who was a ticket guy. And that case was closed. Nobody could find out. And then now the daughter of that guy who was killed, she's a lawyer, and she decides to bring the case up. And they have sued, means they brought up, they're saying who are responsible. See, the point is, this movie and its furor created this whole atmosphere whereby people had to pull out guns and shoot at people. So for the tickets. So they said they sued the theater owner. They sued, I think, Karan Johar or Yash Johar, the father of Karan Johar, because he's no more there. So today there's Karan Johar. They sued his company, and they sued Amitabh Bachchan, saying, boss, you have a responsibility. You were supposed to come for the supposedly official release opening, and they had announced it, and you didn't come, and whatever, and something like that. Anyway, so she brings it up this way, and now the case opens, and it starts unraveling things which actually happened. And there's a lawyer called from the big city who's representing, like Karan Johar's company or Mr. Bachchan's company, etc. And we never show them, but it's like this guy is representing, and now he starts the way he takes, because she is the one, she doesn't know. She's just done a case to see who was her father's killer, and now how the story goes ahead, and how it's very, very beautifully done. So that's on the cards. It will be released sometime this year, hopefully. Then I go to start maybe 2-3 other series, which obviously I can't speak about right now but they will be starting, by June.
What attracts you about a script now? because you've done such interesting, like from a bala to so many kinds of roles that you've done.
Yeah.
What attracts you about a
See, initially, I like to see what is the script, the story which I'm involved in. Second, of course, is what am I doing in that? So if the story may be fantastic, but there's nothing much for me to do, then I kind of, stay away, or I kind of say, I don't think I'm comfortable doing it. But if it works, and if I feel my role is good enough, as long as I try to keep it as much as possible, what we call the lead central characters, the what we call the lead cast, in which the story is dealt with. Yeah. So I try to be of a is it principal cast, what we call it. So I as long as one of that, the story is good, my role is good. So I try to keep going ahead, because sometimes if I feel there's a long gap and I need to do something, and I may pick up and maybe sometimes compromise and say, okay, I'll do this. It's not something I would love to, but I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. But okay, because it's like for an actor, you got to keep. Otherwise, you rust. When you stay put too long, you start rusting, and I don't like that. I like to keep moving, and I think movement is very important for me, where I can keep part of my craft, keep honing in whatever way. So yeah, I do that, and I sometimes take up stuff like I'll do a voiceover, I'll do an ad for just a voice, whatever. I do that because for me it's like any outlet as far as my talent is concerned, and wherever I can use it and just improve on myself and use that as the next stepping. Yeah, so I try to do that. Yeah.
Akishi's Castle is coming back. Is it coming back?
Yeah, I heard, and I've not been approached, and I was very excited. I said, I hope they'll approach me. I'd love to do it, because I think I played. Yeah, I played a reasonably important role in the popularity of the show in India. So because it was purely, there was no script. I used to do it with myself with a script writer who was like a family friend I had, and I got the person, and between the two of us, we used to just sit in the studio and just start recording. Wow. So there was no script given by the channel and whatever, nothing. It just worked. It just connected with people, not just with children. It connected with the adults and the entire.
Everybody, all age groups loved it, right?
Yeah. So that was, I didn't expect that initially. I was doing it. I was thoroughly enjoying myself. I said, okay, let's do it for the kids, and it just connected with everybody. So yeah, it was, and I have people coming up to me and saying, sir, thank you for being an integral part of our childhood, sir. Thank you for making our childhood. That was one of the memories we had. So that's a blessing. I feel like blessed. I feel like, for somebody to say that.
And of course, we talk about Boogie Woogie. We can't not talk about it. The pioneer show that has probably kicked off all reality shows on Indian television that we can easily credit it to.
Yeah, it was the first of its kind. Actually, when you look at it, it was the first of its kind in the world. There was no show like that in the world. So You Think You Can Dance and Got Talent and all, they all came in 2004. We came in 96. So 8 years before that. And they had like one or two random shows in America called Dance Fever, which was very, very different. It's like a discotheque. One couple comes and dance, and it's like more like Top of the Pops kind of stuff is happening. This was a proper reality show which went into few weeks, and the kids or the mothers, and then so we had so many. It's not blocks to, like today people have taken all the elements of Boogie and made separate shows independently. Like today there's a children something going on. We did that as like 10 episodes of that. Then we suddenly jump into a group, which we go into another 10 weeks of that. Then we go into mothers, which goes into maybe 10, 12 weeks of that. So it was everything. It ran throughout the year. There was no season. It was through the year, every week, twice a week. So yeah, that was amazing. And then somewhere we got too corporatized and too so-called, go by the book. It doesn't work. We didn't go by the book. The show wasn't made by the book. Yeah. It was just something which came in a gut feel of people who said, let's do this. It can work in India. And the channel believed that it could work. And yeah, so.
And you always been very futuristic, right? Right now you spoke about working with millennials, and all that you've been working it's always been a little ahead of its current times. So have you suffered being futuristic?
No, actually, I get the reverse statement sometimes that you have came ahead of your time. If you had come now, you could have cashed so much more because today the budgets, the range, because of the internet, the exposure. So when I was hosting certain shows on television, it was just like, okay, fine, Channel V and Boogie was, yeah, of course, Boogie hit it all over the country and outside too. But like we said, let's face it. For example, when Mr. Gavaskar came in as a cricketer, and he was at the top of his craft.
Yeah.
And today, if you look at maybe say Sachin or Virat, there's a huge difference in what say Mr. Gavaskar could monetize, and today what they are able to monetize and the reach they would have. So it's a big difference because the world has shrunk because of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the other end of the spectrum, I just met Mr. Sanjeev Saraf of Reikta, and he spoke about you and your participation in Reikta.
Yes,
so talking about the other side now, which is complete Urdu poetry and, the other side of your personality. So how many Jaaveds are there actually?
No, man, it's like a lot of things within, it's like everything is there. And for me, like I would love to explore whatever dimension I feel I connect with. I mean, for example, you say, I'm not a business guy, so I can't be some corporate head and all. That's not it's not me, and I'm not, when I say that, I don't deride, but that's not my asset as such. So my field is the creative field, and in the creative field, it could be anywhere. And I think Reikta is an amazing job done by, Sanjeev and his team. I think the contribution they've done to Urdu is forever. And what amazing, the whole website, the way it's structured, it's like this kind of encyclopedia you can never find. And it's a respect given to Urdu and the which is due to Urdu and what its contribution has been in poetry and philosophy. So I think that's an amazing site. And I think people should go on, and we learn so much about the language. It's an Indian language. I mean, for God's sake, people go and say, no, Urdu, Muslim. Where Muslim? It's a language born in the South mostly. It's an Indian language. It was made for the Indian people, So it's a strange, the whole political structure is totally different. But Urdu is, I think, one of the best the literatures we have in Urdu. And I think Tamil also has a very rich literature because of how ancient the language is. But Urdu just kind of unified the country. Because Tamil is restricted to a certain territory, but Urdu reached out wherever the Hindi belt was.
Right.
And, today when what we speak, there is probably 70% of Urdu in our daily language,
right.
Which we fail to realize. If we take out Urdu and we say, no more Urdu, we can't. The whole conversation, and then the Hindi, what they're talking about, is not something everybody knows. They're not used to it.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah. So yeah, so like I said, I'm not a poet, but I got interested in Urdu much later in my life. And then I started reading up a bit on it. And I can read Urdu, but my pace is very slow. Like if I read, for example, 4 pages of English, I will read 2 pages in Hindi in the same speed, and I'll read 1 page of Urdu. So my speed is like pretty slow on that level. But yeah, I can read it. And I think really they analyze, I think, in the world, and they were talking about languages, which the sweetness of a language. I think the first in the world, what the so-called, I don't know what they're called, people who analyze languages, not linguists, but some, and there is a certain pattern to a language. So they felt the sweetest was Persian, second was French, and I think third was Urdu, what they came with as far as the sound. How mellifluous it is. And so, yeah, but it's an amazing language. I think you can't just kill it. It's stupid. People who are trying to do that. What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
And of course, Hindi cinema is one of the biggest examples of, and the propagators of a language like this, which is
absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at the songs, all the classic songs. All of them. It's like 80%, 90% is Urdu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, again,
see, what we speak, is what we call Hindustani. Hindustani is maybe say 70% Urdu, 30% Hindi. It's a mix, you know. So I think Hindustani is what we grew up with, and mostly in the Hindi belt, and movies, of course, definitely. So yeah, I think these whole movements are trying to kill it. For what reason? I'm not even understanding. It's a language, and like it's our language. It's an amazing language, and it's done like, look at the kind of contribution, like you said, in the kind of songs which, you know, so-called the Hindi film industry has had.
True. Also, you work with blue-collar workers in Dubai. You come here regularly to judge them and their talent and all of that. So tell me about that experience. And have you discovered talent that you will use later or promote later?
We call them blue-collared workers. Bichare collar bhi, shirt bhi nahi pehante, ganji mein ghumte rehte hain bichare. You know, and we give them a collar and say blue collar. Bicharon ka collar bhi nahi hota hai, garmi mein dhoop mein kaam karte rehte hain. So I personally feel that, you know, I have immense, what would you call it? It's a respect, and I'm not getting the word. It's not compassion from that perspective, but it's a respect, and you value what they are doing, and who have contributed to make this amazing city called Dubai, and the whole UAE for that matter.
Yeah.
And you know, who are the contributors? There were all these people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, you know, Sri Lanka, Nepal, some of them. So all of these people have been huge. Philippines, but that's on a different level. Most of them who are, like we call, the ground workers, the construction laborers, all of them, they are from these countries. And the work conditions they work, the heat, how they work. And so I don't know, I feel a lot for them. And I feel if I get a chance to come and connect with them in some way, that's why I've been a part of that, camp, you know, kya naam usko badal diya abhi, whatever. So I really enjoy being a part of that. And for them, it's like, there's much more which can be done because there's no other relief for them. The whole year, their whole life is 5 in a room, 6 in a room.
Yeah. Okay. What about production? Anything new coming?
No, yeah, I at some point realized I'm not cut out to be a producer. I need somebody who can be a full-time guy with a partner with me. So, if somebody partners and handles the business part of it, because I can understand the creative part of it, I can handle it fine. I can have my creative meetings with whoever, but handling the business, the financing, how to, you know, basically going and marketing it and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, I can work with a team like that. But independently, me standing alone and being a producer, I don't have the capacity and the requirements to be a good producer.
Okay.
But I can, like I said, if I have a company where I have a partner who handles that aspect. Yeah. I'm very good in the creative. I understand how to pitch something. I understand target audiences. All that is fine. Yeah. But yeah, so if somebody comes and if I get somebody who's with me on that, I'd love to be one.
Okay.
I love to create content.
Of course, the ketchup ad, and you can't dissociate. How many years?
Okay. So I started somewhere in 86 or something, maybe. And I went on, I think the last one was with Nawazuddin Siddiqui. 30 years. At that point, I realized for 30 years, I was with the brand. And the same tagline called It's Different. So for 30 years, I was a part of It's Different. And I played different characters.
This is again quite a record-breaking thing. 30 years associated with a brand, with a name and these characters who keep changing, but you are constant.
Yeah. And I used to, at least still, not the Nawaz one, I was not so much an integral part of the script, but all the others with Pankaj and later with Manoj Pava and later with A Child and everything, I was an integral part of the script. I used to write the scripts, all the dialogues. So because the tagline was given by the agency, It's Different. But everything, all the dialogues from Boss has gone for a toss, Lily, don't be silly, you know, Pankaj Udhas, घर में है टीवी तो घर में हो टीवी तो किसे चाहिए बीवी, Channel 1 London, Channel 2 Ravina Tandon. So it's like which were very colloquial, and the whole English incorporation, so it was very pretty groundbreaking for this time. And Prahlad Kakkar was the mind, behind the whole shooting it. And him and me he used to call me and say, Jaaved, let's do this. And on the set, we used to think, okay, this is a new script. Let's shoot it. And the agency is going, no, but how can we got to put it into a meeting and board meeting? And they said, okay, man, we're shooting it. And we used to shoot that. That's the way it was shot. And it was a lot of improv which was happening while that ad was being. And that was the beauty of that ad. I think Prahlad Kakkar is the genius, and he's contributed hugely to the advertising world. And so I thoroughly enjoy. He's a friend now, a very dear friend. And he's a crazy mind. And we used to come together and create some amazing stuff. And I just, people say, oh, yeah, he's okay, been there, done that. How does it work? Today you have Woody Allen creating Oscar films. You have Clint Eastwood at 90 making films every year, which goes for Oscars. You can't put down people just because, he's that old. I mean, what has age got to?
No, that's not wrong. Ironically. Yeah. Also the fact that there's always something humor associated with you when you come on screen. You might not, the role might not be, but because there's a certain expectation of you and humor. So tell me about that.
I don't know. There are these, I've got this split personality. So one is this very serious person, and one is this crazy, a lot of puns coming out, and it's difficult to balance because obviously it depends where I am with who I am. So if there's a group or some people and the humor just comes out because that's what the reaction is happening. And I just flow with how the mood is going. But basically I'm very serious, contemplative kind of person. So I don't know how I balance it out.
Characters have had a lisp. You've had Salam Namaste, that iconic role, which you said was inspired by Feroz Khan Sahab.
I mean, that again happened. They called me and Siddharth, who's a director, and I had a meeting with Aditya Chopra, and Siddharth was like very, very respectful and said, sir, I would really love if you can do this. And I said, man, it's only like 3 scenes. He said, no, sir, but this is we're not looking at just a comedian. We're looking at an actor who can pull it off and have the kind of gravitas to kind of go over the lead actor, kind of who can dominate, because that was the role. It was a stupid guy, but he wants to dominate. And
what a character.
And the beauty in that was that, Saif, which I give him, his due, he's as an actor, he's really a very mature actor, because he could easily say, no, but I'm the lead, how is this guy dominating me and I should have the punchlines. And so he remained in his character and he let himself be dominated. And that's what worked for the scene. If he hadn't, and if he had kept an attitude, it wouldn't probably have worked that much as he, by playing the guy who's intimidated by this guy. Yeah. So I think that really worked. And a lot of improv. The entire dialogue on the set, a lot of it was improvised. And the accent, of course, because they didn't know, they just had written, sorry, exactly. And there's a blonde girl and this guy thinks he's Crocodile Dundee. But then I thought, I have to bring something onto. So I can't obviously be Crocodile Dundee as in the film, which is the Hollywood film. So I said, okay, we'll give this guy one. He's Indian. So maybe he's inspired from Mr. Feroz Khan, because he was the cowboy Clint Eastwood of India. And so maybe he saw that and he's trying to be that and cool. So he adopts that style, because he's not exposed to Hollywood. He's exposed to the Hindi movies. And so he took that. And then, of course, he can't speak. He's from Bihar. His English is not very good. He wasn't educated. And so he's trying to adapt and be the English kind of Australian, get the accent. So there's a whole mixture of English, bad English, with an Australian accent, and with that demeanor. So it just worked as a package, and we totally enjoyed it. I think Siddharth was so good. He gave me so much of leeway, to perform, and that worked. It just worked. If he had said, no, this is a scene, you got to stay within this. No, we remained within the parameters. But yes, okay, if you want to say something, you want to do something, remaining within the character because it just was built up. It just happened while we were doing it. So yeah, that was that.
You have to be a good people watcher for characters like these, right? Are you very?
Yeah, maybe I am to some extent. I am because when I was growing up, I used to do a lot of traveling by train in Mumbai, and Mumbai is this whole potpourri of cultures, languages, different kind of people. If you travel by train, especially, so I was trained by the trains, and so I watched the people, the different language, Gujarati, Marathi, a bit of English spoken in a Gujarati accent, English spoken in a Marathi accent, in a Bengali, in a Punjabi accent. So all these people, and then characters, how they walk, how they carry themselves, a certain look they have. I mean, if I'm just sitting and this will be normal, but if I go and it becomes a different character just by doing this to my neck, So I used to observe that a physical, I think for an actor to be able to, like when I do a Sing is King, I'm different. When I do a Dhamal, it's different. When I, do exactly, it's different. So it's not just dialogue. It's your voice, your demeanor, your body language. Everything changes. So that's the excitement of being an actor, I think. So be that person, be somebody else. That's what you are. That's what your job is.
Right. So what is that you tell Mizan?
Well, Mizan, like my father, gave us life lessons, foundational elements of character, of right and wrong, behavior, respect, give a good education. That's all you can give. Don't force where you want. This is where you should go. You can just guide them. But you see, for example, I wanted Mizan. I love the martial arts, and I wanted Mizan to be involved in the martial arts. But I sent him to class, and my wife used to go early in the morning, karate, then capoeira. But he wasn't cut out. He didn't. It was not his cup of tea. I sent my daughter to judo. She was very good, but then she didn't feel like. So it's where they want to go, and we let them be, my wife and me, and we gave them the education. And then wherever life took them, they're hard. I think my only thing is you give your 100%, whether you do it for 5,000 rupees or 50 lakhs or 5 crores. You give in that same effort and the same attention and the same respect. Don't look down. Oh, I'm doing this for like gratis, so I don't have to. No, it has to be your full 100%, whatever you do. And respect your elders, not status. Respect people who are elder to you. It could be a light man, it could be a spot boy, it could be a biggest of director. You cannot change and say aap to him and say tu to this him because he's a light boy. No, doesn't work. So these are basic life lessons. And and the rest, if you ask me to read a script, you just have to give me 1 minute. I have to connect the cord because
I'm done.
There is
I'm
okay, fine.
This was the last question.
Yeah. So for me, that the life lessons are like the basic foundational character. That's what makes a man.
Okay.
Then wherever you are, you could be in any. You could be a scientist, a doctor, an actor, a politician. Politicians are very difficult. So you could be an IAS officer, but the basic foundational character will take you a long way.
Lovely. Thank you very much for speaking to me. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Always a pleasure, Manju. Great. Yes. You and your wonderful saris.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Manju.
Bye.